Have you ever felt like you're just experiencing the world in a higher resolution than everyone else? Picking up on all the little details, the emotions, the sensations that most people seem to just walk right past? Well, today we're going to dive into this idea of the 8K soul and what it really means to see the world with that kind of incredible, vibrant intensity. So let me start with a question that might just hit a little close to home for some of you. Do you often feel like you're, too much? Too sensitive, too emotional, maybe too affected by everything and everyone around you? It's like you're living life in ultra high def while everyone else is just fine with standard resolution. That feeling isn't just some random personality quirk. It's helpful to think of it as experiencing the world through a kind of super sensor. It's a completely different way of being. And in this first part, let's unpack what that experience is really like. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? It's not just about feeling a little sad. It's being so profoundly moved by the sheer beauty of a sunset that it actually brings you to tears. Or walking into a room and instantly feeling the vibe, absorbing the collective mood as if it's your very own. It's a deep, unfiltered connection to everything. So does any of this sound familiar to you? Having these really deep, sometimes kind of overwhelming emotional reactions? Feeling completely frazzled by loud noises or chaotic places? Or maybe you're like a sponge for other people's feelings, and you're almost certainly the one who notices that tiny shift in a friend's tone of voice, or a little detail in a painting that everyone else missed. These are all classic signs of this intense way of perceiving the world. But here's the thing. This isn't just a feeling or a personality type. It is actually rooted in your biology. So if you've ever been told you're just overreacting or being too sensitive, well, science is here with some serious validation. It's not in your head, it's literally in your wiring. Okay, so the official scientific term for this is sensory processing sensitivity, or SPS for short. And innate just means you're born with it. But the most important word here is deeper. People with SPS don't just notice more things. Their brains actually process every single sight, sound, and feeling more thoroughly. So what does that actually look like in practice? Well, think of most brains as having a pretty standard filter. They're awesome at tuning out background noise, so you can focus on one conversation. But a brain with SPS? That's the 8K sensor. It takes in everything. It's not just hearing the main conversation, it's also processing the hum of the air conditioner, the faint smell of coffee from across the room, the texture of the chair you're sitting on, and the fleeting microexpression on someone's face, all at the same time. And what's the mechanism driving this 8K sensor? Well, it boils down to something called low latent inhibition. I know it sounds super complex, but the idea behind it is actually pretty simple, and man, does it explain a lot. This is honestly the perfect analogy. Having low latent inhibition is like your brain has no spam filter. Most brains automatically learn to label familiar, everyday stuff as unimportant and just ignore it. But a brain with low latent inhibition treats every single piece of incoming data as potentially new and important. Every single time. Every leaf on a tree, every musical note, every flicker of an emotion, it all gets through. And that is why the world can feel so overwhelming, but also why it can feel so incredibly rich and detailed. Okay, so you've got a brain with no spam filter. That can sound exhausting, right? But what if we just reframe that whole idea? What if this isn't a glitch in this system, but it's actually your superpower? So in this next section, we're going to look at how you can turn this sensitivity from something that feels like a challenge into your greatest strength. And this brings us to this really beautiful concept called vantage sensitivity. It's the other side of the high sensitivity coin. Because while it's true that highly sensitive people can be more affected by negative environments, this theory shows that they thrive disproportionately in positive ones. They don't just do okay, they absolutely flourish, soaking up all that support, beauty, and encouragement way more deeply than anyone else. So here is the absolute key, the most important takeaway from all of this. The goal is not to grow thicker skin or to somehow feel less. You can't just turn off your 8K sensor. The real work is to become a master curator of your own world. It's all about intentionally shaping your environment so that your sensitivity works for you, not against you. The best way to think about it is like you're building a greenhouse for a rare, magnificent orchid. So first, you have to recognize what you uniquely need, what helps you thrive, and what totally drains you. Second, you control the inputs. You manage the light, the noise, the social interactions to keep from getting overwhelmed.
And then finally, you leverage your gifts. You use that incredible eye for detail in your creative projects. You use that profound empathy to be an amazing friend, partner, or leader. You basically turn your sensor into a precision tool. And so we'll end with this thought. What if this very trait, the one you might have seen as a weakness your whole life, being too much or too sensitive, what if that is actually the source of your greatest power? Your ability to see the world in 8K gives you access to a depth of beauty, a level of connection, and an insight that, frankly, most people will never get to experience. So the real question isn't how to tone it all down, it's how to fully and bravely step into its power.